You like movies about gladiators?
Those men wanted to have sex with me.
Great Scott!
Nice beaver.
He's a Cinderella boy.
Rambo is a pussy. Come with me if you want to live.
Hello, and welcome to Retro Ramble. I'm Charlie McGee.
I'm George McGee.
And this episode is a slight diversion from our usual monthly feature of looking at 80s and 90s films. This time, thanks to a lot of questions from our dear listeners, we've decided to take a look back and review the films of 2017. Before we go any further, however, we'd just like to remind you that this particular episode will contain numerous spoilers for these films. We're going to be looking and discussing Logan, John Wick 2, everything in Wonder Woman. What else do we cover, George? We cover Guardians 2, War for Planet of the Apes, The Last Jedi, Justice League, Blade Runner, Dunkirk. So if you've not seen these films, we are announcing them before we discuss them. So you may want to skip ahead. We don't want to ruin anything for anyone deliberately or unknowingly. So, George,
it's been an interesting year for blockbusters. I'm not sure if it's safe to say it's been a great year for blockbusters. We've had some good films. I think in terms of there's been good films throughout the year. I think the films, that summer blockbuster window just doesn't exist anymore. They sort of kind of start in March and end in around September.
Yeah, I mean, if you think that you know that you're getting a Star Wars film every Christmas, you know that Marvel have got, what is
at
it,
least
two or three? At least
one
two.
at the start of the summer, one at the end.
One at the end of the summer. DC had big plans until Justice League. So yeah, it is strange, and then I think it's harder for some lesser known directors to get noticed. There seems to be more reliance on franchises and brand recognition. So
yeah, there's a lot of comic book films in this list. Charlie and I have compiled the majority of the films that we're talking about. We have both seen. There might be a couple of
one
exceptions.
one or two that only one of us has seen.
And yeah, there is a lot of comic book or franchises in there, but hey, that's just the state of the industry right now.
Absolutely. And the other thing is that we are still watching films. We're still avid film watchers, and a lot of them are referencing assets or films or...
well, as you said, it's brand recognition.
Yeah,
it's all about the merch.
Yeah, there's been a lot of revisiting to universes that existed back in the day. So it is we're arguing that it was relevant. So, in the chronological... How do you say that?
Chronological? In release order.
In release order. Thanks, because I thought I was going to have to record you saying chronological and then just play it whenever I need it in life. So yeah, in release order, it's Logan.
It's Logan. Finally, we get a proper Wolverine film. And it's everything that we wanted. And, hats off to Fox for taking a chance on such a bold, violent and sweary film.
Yeah. And that is rammed at you from the get-go.
From the get-go. And it's a very interesting film like that. The opening scene, there's you expect Wolverine to hand these guys asses to them on a plate, to completely kick ass, and he's getting the shit beaten out of him.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, the claws finally come out and limbs are flying everywhere. I thought it was full of great performances, had some really touching scenes, some great action sequences.
Yeah, generally surprised, the beautiful relationship between him. I mean, it was just who doesn't love Patrick Stewart? If you don't love Patrick Stewart, send us your name, we will hunt you down and kill you, because he is he's obviously a true thespian through and through, but the energy, the relationship, the dynamic between the two of them.
I'd easily say it's both of their best performances in the whole X-Men universe. That they've really gives them room to breathe as characters and takes them in different directions. It's interesting to see a sort of senile Professor X swearing and effing and jeffing.
Those first few scenes where he's going around and isn't he pretending to be kind of crazy as well? A little bit that he's taking it. Yeah, because he's pretending that he is taking his meds. But yes, they do some really interesting things. It was like the threat that he could pose if he was to go senile. And then there was what would Wolverine... How do you finish the story? How do you finish both of their stories properly?
Yeah, it's a very interesting sort of send-off for the Wolverine character. And to quote Freddie Mercury, who wants to live forever?
Yeah.
And that whole conundrum of immortality, I think it really approaches it in an interesting way. I'd say it's not perfect. It is a great film, but there's some pacing issues. I really like the guy, I think he's Donald Pierce, the guy with the cyborg hand. I thought he was an interesting villain, but then he disappears for half the film.
Yeah, because he's from Narcos.
Which I've yet to see.
He's very good. He's very good in that. But also, when you come to season 2, this is not at all any spoiler. I think it's actually to do with the story itself. He's not in it. I mean, Narcos, the follow-up season is amazing. It's great.
Yeah. No, I thought he was very good, and it was a shame that he was sort of written out. You have Richard E. Grant hamming it up, doing some great villain monologuing at the end.
Yeah, you can't get enough of him.
This is my evil plan all along.
Yeah.
Well, I say it's got some flaws, but I can't wait to watch it again.
I was actually holding off because I watched it at the cinema, and I take it you've heard about this, the black and white version. Yeah. So it's appeared on every streaming offer under the sun, but I'm holding off.
I'm not sure if I'm overly fussed about seeing it in black and white. I don't think it really needs to. I can understand because I think Mad Max did it, the Fury Road, they did it in a black and white version. That I'd be more interested to see, but...
Really? I thought you'd want to see all the colours in Mad Max because it was so...
But yeah, hey-ho, it's it's great to show that they're giving directors a chance to do their own thing.
Yeah.
Including releasing it in a black and white version, and obviously makes them a bit more money.
And if you are a massive fan of Hugh Jackson, then is it Hugh Jackman or Hugh Jackson?
Yeah, either works. He answers to either.
Yeah, so check it out on YouTube. There's a video of him doing the sound recording for some of
the ADR. It's brilliant.
The ADR work at the end, and it's basically just him standing in front of a screen making Wolverine noises. Yeah, it's great, but it shows the energy that he puts into his roles.
Yeah, and it shows what a nice guy Hugh Jackman is, and how quickly he can turn into a screaming psychopath.
Yeah, and he also sings and dances. We love you, Hugh.
He's very talented. I just want to dance.
By the way, just before we move on to the second film, George has got a little bit of a squeaky chair.
Apologies.
And I did ask him to kneel before Zod and just do the rest of the podcast on the floor, but we're going to try and give it a go. And I've told him just not to move while he talks.
Not to move too much, okay.
Yeah. So, it's John Wick Part 2.
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2, sorry, damn it. Yeah, anyway, it's more John Wick.
Yeah, it gives you what you loved about the first one, and it expands the mythology, which is great because there was lots of subtle touches in the first one about this League of Assassins.
Hotel of Assassins.
That have a very nice hotel. They have their own currency system. They don't believe in Bitcoin. They've got gold shiny coins.
Nobody believes in Bitcoin right now, brother.
It's more of what you want to see. More headshots, more gratuitous violence, more pounding techno music and flashing lights.
More point-blank headshots as well. There are headshots, and then there's a headshot from an inch away.
The only thing, I did enjoy it. I thought it was a lot of fun. The only thing I thought they are getting, and I know the whole premise is quite silly, but he is quickly becoming a bit of a superhero and a bit like Wolverine. It seems like in sort of real physics, he should have died in the first 10 minutes. I think he gets run over 3 times in that opening scene.
If they'd taken that bit where he gets run over, because the rest is explained that he's got bulletproof suits.
That I liked, but yeah, it's the fact that he's stabbed, shot, run over.
Yeah, bit too much with the car.
Thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Don't worry about that.
Don't worry, I'm overthinking it. But a lot of fun, and can't wait for part 3.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you... I went back and obviously watched John Wick. Well, I have John Wick because I loved it so much, so I stuck that on straight away. And I do prefer the first one. There's something about it. There's something about the...
It's the freshness of it.
Yeah.
I think that's the only weakness, is that it is just sort of doing more of the same, but bigger and more headshots.
But it's the thing that carries this film for me as well is just I love Keanu Reeves.
Dedicated, yeah.
And when you hear him talk in interviews, that is the guy. It is, yes, he's a mixture of Neo and Ted Theodore Logan.
And Johnny Utah.
What was he? Ted Theodore Logan,
Theodore Logan.
Anyway, great film, and lots and lots of fun. So, George, in at number 3, it's Wonder Woman!
Wonderful Woman.
And DC thinking they can do no wrong. They've actually made a successful blockbuster. What could possibly go wrong in the rest of this year?
We fucking did it, guys.
Yeah.
We got a hit.
We're going to beat Marvel.
Yeah, they get it right, at least for a few months anyway. It ticks all the boxes for an origin tale. Really liked the whole bit on, I'm not even going to try and pronounce the island,
Themyscira, I don't know, it just looks like...
The island of lovely ladies.
Kick-ass.
Kicking ass.
Taking names.
You wouldn't want to make any sexist jokes over there.
No.
But yeah, I really liked that whole side of the mythology. I really liked the setup of it all. I like, the whole bit with the soldiers on the beach. I thought it was a really cool.
That was a great scene, yeah.
I really like the period setting, even if you can't help thinking of the first Captain America film. There's a lot of similarities there,
yeah,
which is unavoidable. Great chemistry between the lovely Gal Gadot and the lovely Chris Pine.
Yeah.
They'll make superior children.
Could take either of them home and
Yeah.
you'd feel like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. I'd be happy with either of them.
Yeah.
Don't tell my wife that. She'd want Chris Pine. Yeah, no, I really liked it. I mean, again, it's sort of like a lot of Marvel movies, but also DC films as well. A bit of a messy CGI finale.
It's the main complaint.
And the bad guys, yeah. We're in spoiler territory, but David Thewlis as a hulking evil and god of war.
As soon as he turns up, I'm like, he's the bad guy.
Oh, it's just like, yeah, it's a bit.
But I missed the start, to be honest, because I had parking issues when I went to see this, and so
Nobody wants to know about your parking issues.
But I mean, is he is he not introduced in the opening credits at Ares? Do you not see it's him, or do you not see his face?
No, you just see him in like sort of Sauron type sort of helmet and armor.
Ah, right. So you can't see it's him.
No,
okay, because I wasn't sure.
It's David Thewlis.
Yeah, but you just know he's going to be
very menacing.
You know he's going to be bad. He's bad in every film apart from Harry Potter, if I'm right.
Yeah.
Okay, so at number...
What next?
At number 4, it's Guardians of the Galaxy. Part 2.
Volume 2.
Damn it!
Yeah, again, the typical sequel of giving you what you loved about the first one. So you've got some great humour, some great character banter, interplay.
Kurt Russell.
You've got great Kurt Russell.
Mm-hmm. Kurt Russell's hair.
You've got Kurt Russell with amazing silver mullet.
And beard.
And beard. I'd take him home as well.
Yeah.
Him and Chris Pine. And another amazing soundtrack. But why don't I like it more?
Because it's a bit weak in the middle. Is that not right? There's the usual. It's an interesting, because halfway, 2/3 of the film, I'm like, but there's been no introduction. Who are the baddies apart from the gold people? There's not really. Oh, it's going to be his dad. His dad's going to be evil or something. So I think it's just a bit of it's setting up.
Well, that's what I felt. Yeah, I felt the whole plot was a bit of padding. It didn't move on, and
like a few other Marvel.
Well, yeah,
it's like a bit of Age of Ultron that does have that aspect to
it.
Yeah,
I mean, people say that that the Marvel films are guilty of trying to set up too much of that universe, and that
rather than just giving you a plot.
Yeah, giving you a plot and characters. And I felt this was, it felt a bit like filler before the next Avengers. There was no mention of, Thanos or linking it to the larger world. It's very self-contained. It's a lot of fun, but I'm not really, I've listened to the soundtrack on repeat all year, but I'm not really in a rush to watch the film again.
Yeah.
I'm sure I will at some point, but yeah, it just made me feel a bit like, oh, okay, yeah, let's move on.
But it's one of those things, funny, enjoyable at the cinema, but afterwards...
Yeah, I'm not going to rush back to watch it.
Okay, so, in next... Apes.
War for the planet of the brother of the revenge of the apes. Why don't I just call it War of the Apes? Yeah.
Ape War.
Yeah.
No, it's got to be all Planet...
It has to have Planet of the Apes in the title.
Otherwise, it would be better with just War of the Apes.
But people won't know what it's about.
Is this a new franchise? Yeah.
I really like this, and I'm actually surprised that it wasn't a bigger hit.
Well, yeah, you and I have always had this sort of difference because I loved the first film. Like the one with James Franco, with the breakout of the virus. And I loved the ending.
It's a great film.
Watching that Life film, have you seen that yet?
No.
No, I won't spoil it for you yet. So, there's just certain things, there were certain things in the first Apes movie that I really I really liked, and the second one kind of continued it, but I prefer the first and the second to this last one. That's my overall point.
Right. Well,
the CGI's great, circus is great.
I watched the second one just after seeing this one, War for the Planet of the Apes. Is it Dawn, the second one?
Yeah.
There's some really nice links to it, and there's a lot of.
Maybe I should have watched.
Dawn. No, they do fit together very nicely. Yeah, I think it's a really great closing chapter of this trilogy. Obviously, it leaves it open for the Apes mythology. I think one of the reasons might not have been a hit was it's quite a dour, wintry film, isn't it? It's all like set in the snow. It's great.
And it's surprising character arcs, like not where you stop squeaking, George. Yeah, interesting character arcs in that what happens to Caesar is maybe, yes, some aspects of what happens to him is what you'd expect, but what he does and how he acts is surprising. Same with Woody Harrelson's character. He's set up in a certain way, not to be so much a stereotype, but you do kind of think, I've seen this before, and by the end of it, it's very surprising.
The whole film is surprising, and there's nice callbacks to that first film, to Rise of the Planet of the Apes. It's great the fact that it sort of hops between genres. It's part Western, part revenge film, and then it's part prison break movie. It's great how it hops around, and
I love all the apes. They look so cute and cuddly.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that I think there's that, excuse the pun, but this evolution, that the fact that the CGI's got so much better, that you are spending the large part of the film with CGI characters,
and they are feel totally at home. You're not out of place. It's not distracting,
and you take it for granted. But I think for such a dour, sort of dark film, there's actually a lot of light moments in it as well. There's also a lot of emotional moments, and it's amazing that you are reacting to these CGI characters.
You're being made to care about CGI apes. Yeah.
But there's a lot of comedy moments in as well.
But Andy Serkis, what a talent,
Yeah, definitely. And but I'm interested to see, I think his take on the Jungle Book film, which is now called Mowgli, is I think that's going to be finally released next year.
If there's one thing the world needs, it's more Jungle Book movies.
But it's got quite a good cast.
But weren't there two out in the same year? Or am I getting confused?
No, they were going to, but they're the more...
So they held back?
Yeah, they held back because the Disney one was such a success.
Yeah, okay. So this is the one with the other cast with...
it's Christian Bale and Benedict Cumberbatch as Shere Khan.
Interesting. So, if you haven't seen War for the Planet of the Apes, go see it. It's not on at the cinema, just go and see it somewhere. Go around to somebody's house. So, next, Dunkirk. Christopher Nolan does War.
It's fantastic, actually.
It's not if it's the Second World War. It wasn't fantastic.
It's pretty bleak.
Yeah.
What can you say? It's another typical Nolan film. It's stunning, it's gripping, it's very loud. You can't hear half the dialogue.
And once again, he finds some way to fuck about with time. We're giving us those three stories.
And casting Tom Hardy and Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, but giving us those three stories, like one of them's set over hours, one of them's set over a week, one of them's set over a day. It's like, dude, come on.
But I suppose it's the least confusing of his time-based shenanigans. Yeah. I saw this in IMAX and was so glad that I did. It was just bomb. It was just phenomenal. The aerial dogfight scenes. No, I thought it was great. I mean, a criticism of Chris Nolan films is that they can be quite cold. There's not a great focus. You don't really warm to the characters. Mm-hmm. I think with this, obviously, there is an exception because it's more about it is a lot of focus on the action, and you haven't really got time to spend with each of these characters. But yeah, if you look at something like Saving Private Ryan, that's a different approach. You invest your time in those characters and you really feel for them. Whereas in this, I think it's more about the spectacle and, as you say, it's the historical accuracy of it.
And some people argue that it isn't, but it is, because what they could have done is they could have done a Tarantino ending. There's all that tension and pressure. Are they going to get off the beach? Are they going to get off the beach? And in the back of your mind, you're kind of hoping that they don't, and that there's a massive all-out battle and explosions and bodies going everywhere.
With apes.
With apes, but they do get off the beach. Yeah. I kind of felt at the end, yes, it's historically correct. Yes, it's great because the British soldiers were rescued. But I think overall, I think where there was a historical inaccuracy in the way that the French are painted in it. They're kind of painted as not doing much and running and hiding.
Whereas they were massive assets.
They were very intrinsic to the escape. But there's so much in that film to like.
I loved it, but I don't think I loved it as much as everybody else. Everyone was like, waxing lyrical, and I did really enjoy it. I just didn't think I don't think it's his strongest film.
No, not for a while. It showed that he could. It shows that he can do it in some things, but it was what it was. It did. I think it did well enough. And next, it's Baby Driver.
Baby Driver.
Baby Driver, I don't care what you say about Kevin Spacey. I'll watch him in anything, regardless of what he's done or has tried to do to people.
I'm a little bit disappointed that they haven't rushed out and changed all the DVD covers.
Or actually reinserted somebody else to...
Christopher Plummer.
Yeah, Christopher Plummer, you're now being reinserted into Kevin Spacey. What? I mean, into all of his films.
Into his back catalogue. Yeah, if Ridley Scott can, reshoot, every single scene that Kevin Spacey's in for his new film, at least, they could send somebody around just putting a sticker over Kevin Spacey's face, even if it's just a price sticker.
Can you not download your own Christopher Plummer stickers?
Probably. Sorry, we're getting a little bit off tangent. I really like this film. I mean, you and I have both been Edgar Wright fans from the very start. We grew up with Spaced.
Yeah, we were students.
Shaun of the Dead. And I'd tell you what I was watching again recently, which I forgot how good a film is Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to see him play. And again, it's a shame that wasn't...
Didn't do as well as it should have done.
Didn't do as well as it should have. And it's got a really good cast that have gone on to do quite a lot of stuff. But yeah, this I thought, again, with Guardians of the Galaxy, probably the soundtrack of the year.
Absolutely.
I've been listening to the Baby Driver soundtrack on repeat throughout the summer, and amazing choreography.
I'll record it for you.
Yeah, some of the way the action scenes, like the gunshots will sync up to the drum beat of a song.
That was great.
It's got John Hamm in it, so what more can a guy ask for? He
is great in it. I mean, I think you will have... I think everybody's probably experienced this to some extent with the ubiquitous... We're having some vocabulary problems. Ubiquity of social media. I was late to watching Baby Driver, and everybody told me it was amazing. It was the best film they'd ever seen. It was like blah, 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 blah. And everyone was excited. So when it got around to seeing it, I'm kind of like, good film, amazing soundtrack, because I couldn't understand a word that Jamie Foxx was saying. His diction, his pronunciation was terrible.
Such a racist.
It's got nothing to do with that. I thought he was a bit of a caricature of... I thought he could have actually done a better job with that character, because I just felt that he let the film down and that he was too much... It was too obvious, whereas I thought everyone else was really strong.
Especially John Hamm.
Yeah, especially John Hamm, the Ham Man. But the issue I had with it, it's called Baby Driver. At the end...
And it wasn't a baby.
It wasn't a baby driver.
I want my money back.
Where's the baby? I was like annoyed after the first 5 minutes. But no...
Have you seen Baby Stay Out?
But no, the opening car chase is... Phenomenal. And that's done to music. It's my favourite car... a Scooby Impreza. Subaru Impreza being driven like that, and the tricks they do is amazing. It doesn't really come close after that. That's a letdown for me, because I was like, it's sold as it's a bank heist. There's this, but there's so much more I did like about it. I liked his character arc. I like the fact that you get to see him tried, and they take his thing, and there's little beats from the story that actually, obviously we are already in spoiler territory, but yeah, the soundtrack's amazing. And I really did enjoy the film, and I think in a year of some pretty not as much success as you'd expect, this does stand tall as one of the highlights.
And it's an original property.
Yeah,
let's have more of that.
And it's not a remake. Thank you, Edgar Wright. So next we have Blade Runner 2049.
Blade Runner. Running with blades.
What can we say that has not already been said?
Yeah, my film of the year, I'd say. I didn't make it, but...
You lie.
But yeah, it was everything you could have wanted in a Blade Runner sequel.
I went to see it twice. I mean, we're talking a 2.5 hour film.
I can't wait to see it again.
I was not bored the second time around. The first time around, I had no idea how long it was. And when we got to the 2 hour mark, I was like, hey, wait a minute, this film, by the story, is nowhere near the end. because I think Harrison Ford only turns up after an hour 50. But so I was like, what's going on here? And I started getting worried, thinking they're just going to set up a sequel. This is going to be a two-parter. That's going to be really annoying. But what is so beautiful about that film is that it maybe kind of does, but it doesn't really. It's a self-contained film.
It could just finish there.
It could just finish there. But yeah, one of Gosling's best ever performances, and obviously one of the most beautiful women in the world.
Oh, that woman is lovely.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would argue we're going to talk about other space films, but definitely the sci-fi of the year, and one of probably my favourite film.
I was really concerned when it was first announced, especially when we've seen, and we're going to talk about this shortly, about what's happened with the Alien franchise, and revisiting films after 30 odd years is usually a bad idea, but Denis Villeneuve has knocked out the park. I thought it was a beautiful film. It's not for everybody, as you say. It is.
Yeah, but screw those guys.
Exactly. It's a long film. It's a slow film, but if you're a fan of the first one, then I think you'll love it.
Arguably one of the best sequels that's ever been made.
Yep, I'd agree with that.
And that's saying a lot considering how many sequels.
Yeah, I've been talking about soundtracks a lot, and yeah, I've been listening to this. The Hans Zimmer pounding. There's one scene I think where they're like the fight that when the car is slowly sinking.
On the water, yeah.
Yeah, don't listen to that when you're walking about. It just raises your anxiety levels. It's really tense. I usually have to skip that track because I feel like I'm being followed or I'm about to die.
Is there a high level of warm?
There's a lot of warming, but it's
a lot of warmage.
But I'm a big fan of the original Blade Runner, the Vangelis soundtrack, and I think again it's a great sort of homage and sequel to that soundtrack.
And getting on to number 9, it's Thor Ragnarok.
Ragnarok.
What does it mean? Who cares?
It's basically the bad parts of the Norse Bible. Really enjoyed this. I would probably say it's the funniest film of the year,
without a doubt.
We are struggling with genuinely, good comedies these days, but I've always been a big fan of Taika Waititi, so loved Eagle versus Shark, What We Do in the Shadows, Hunt for the Wilder People, and obviously the stuff he's done with Flight the Conchords. So it was great to see that Marvel let him run loose,
absolutely,
just cut loose and just go absolutely nuts with it.
Showed confidence on both sides,
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's why it resonated with so many people, because it was just so entertaining, so different, and so confident a film. I mean, it's got amazing, colourful visuals. I mean, it's very in line with the sort of the Guardians of the Galaxy sort of colour scheme and visual sort of palette. Great 80s electro-y type soundtrack again. And of course, Jeff frickin' Goldblum playing amazing. Jeff Goldblum.
There was just the right amount of him as well. He did such a good job, and you could see, that the people, he was the ruler, but just a great character. You want more of it. And
again, it's a bold film. It's not afraid to kill off quite a few characters, make some interesting choices for the future.
Yeah. Best Thor film and one of the best Marvels.
Yeah.
So top work.
Yeah, and I'd say funniest film of the year for me.
So, I mean, we're just going from one amazing film to another, and at number 10, in no particular order, it's Justice League. Now, I have to admit something to you, dear listeners. I have not seen Justice League. George, unfortunately.
I for my sins, as a completist, as a diehard Batman aficionado, I'm actually reading my notes from a lovely Batman embossed notebook.
That is one of the geekiest things you own. I'm impressed.
But it's nice. It's a bit like a moleskin, but it's just got a Batman symbol on it.
On every single page.
On every single page. It just reminds me.
That you are Batman.
It just reminds me that night time's a very dark time for me. It's Justice League. It's not terrible, it's just a messy, massive disappointment. Yeah, it's not a complete car crash. There are moments in it that are a lot of fun. It's great seeing all the characters together on screen when it actually finally happens. But it's such a missed opportunity. You've got these amazing, iconic characters,
Good actors.
Good actors. I don't, there's a lot of hate for Henry Cavill, but it's actually in this film you do actually get to see him as that Superman we know and love. That he's smiling for one. When he turns up, he doesn't really sort of turn up until halfway through the film. It's just such a waste. How can apparently it cost over $300 million to make. How can it look so cheap? There's like so many like Star Wars level of CGI backgrounds. Yeah. I don't know how.
You mean talking about the prequels sort of stuff?
Yeah. There's a lot of. Apparently, this film has been subject to a lot of reshoots. So, for people who aren't in the know, so the film is credited as being directed by Zack Snyder, who did Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman.
But he had some personal.
Yes, he had a family tragedy, so he left earlier this year. So they'd done the bulk of principal photography, but Warner Brothers being Warner Brothers got a bit cold feet and were panicking that it was too serious and dour like Batman vs Superman. So they brought in Joss Whedon, him of Avengers, to lighten it up a bit.
Just do the Marvel thing, do the Marvel money, the money making Marvel thing.
Yeah, pretty much. And those scenes that have been added in, apparently about 20%, they say about 20% are extra scenes.
Can you spot them?
You can definitely spot the ones with Henry Cavill because they've had to CGI out his mustache that he was growing from Mission Impossible.
Right.
And it's actually really distracting. It looks like he's got, Mummy, what's wrong with that man's face?
It just, I can't wait to see that mustache. I mean, I can't wait to see Mission Impossible 6.
It better be worth it. Yeah. So there was a lot of reshoots, and as a result, there's a lot of rushed CGI, so you can really tell when it's, a lot of the time you can pretty much, guess when it's a new scene. And
why not leave the mustache? So just to go back to Mustache Land, why not just because he's back from the dead,
and he could be potentially evil. So give him a mustache.
Why not give him a beard? Give him a full-on beard.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the fact that there are scenes before and after his resurrection. Spoiler. So it would have been odd in those pre-death moments. Where's he gone? Just
go with it. Go with it. He's shaved and he's got super beard.
Yeah. So there are some, I say, enjoyable bits, but on the whole, it's just a mess, and it's going to be. Apparently, it's really been, well, it hasn't been a box office bomb, but it's been really below the expected numbers. And I think you're in trouble when fans are starting an online petition to get a Zack Snyder cut released. People give Zack Snyder so much crap, but now they actually want to see the original Zack Snyder version because there's talk that, that might have been more coherent and that might have been edgier. It's a very light, it is very much trying to do the Marvel thing. But I think it's just a bit of a rush, too little, too late.
Speaking of fan backlash, in at number 11, it's The Last Jedi.
Yes, indeed. Well,
been second guessing what it was going to be about for a long time,
and you're
all wrong. You're all wrong.
Yeah, you and I are. We saw this separately. We did plan to see it together.
We refused to speak each other to the film. I said, "What do you want? Do you want to know anything? Like one word?" And you were like, "No, tell me nothing."
No. It's a bit of a family tradition that we've watched the last few Star Wars films together at the cinema, but because there was so much talk of spoilers, blah blah blah.
Did it come out earlier as well?
Maybe it did come out earlier than usual.
Or was it earlier Christmas in general?
We both really enjoyed it, I think it's safe to say.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Had a great laugh.
I'd say it's on par with The Force Awakens.
Yeah, I was the one thing I was trying to work out which is better.
But it makes some interesting choices, and fair play to him. Again, a bit like the Marvel and Thor, hats off to them for trying to do something different with the formula. It doesn't, Star Wars doesn't have to just be about the same family, the Skywalker family, and everything is connected. The whole point of this new sort of series of films was to go off in different directions, and they're finally starting to do it.
Well, yeah, exactly. And, spoiler alert, I hope you've seen it. But I mean, in the film, you actually have, you have some brilliant surprises. That's very brave. It's very funny. Some people are saying it's too funny. Please,
that kind of humour doesn't belong in Star Wars films.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe you're forgetting that those first Star Wars films did have humour in, but they had the amount of humour that you'd expect to see a film in the late 70s, early 80s. Mm-hmm. And they had many other things that were related to that era. I mean, you look at the haircuts that have been kept and all of that. They even put some mustaches in to Rogue One, that sort of thing. You can't keep everything in the 70s, 80s era just because that's when the originals were made. But in this film, you have them pointing out some things like you need to destroy everything and burn everything to start again. And, you know, anger, fear and hate are the way of the dark side. If you listen to the film and if you go along that path, then you'll actually enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thoroughly enjoyed The Force Awakens. There's a lot that are not what you'd expect, and that takes some doing.
I don't understand why there's so much backlash
because these are people who don't want to be perceived to be sheep.
Well, no, it's the
who
same.
Expect something else.
It's the same people that complained that The Force Awakens was
too much of a rewrite.
Yeah, it was a carbon copy of the old Star Wars films. Now they're complaining that this isn't my Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker wouldn't do this. Yeah, my Luke Skywalker wouldn't do that. So yeah, it's no. I thought it was.
Mark Hamill's comments have been taken out of context.
Yes.
Because he said those way back, and everyone's been writing stories about how this isn't the Luke Skywalker that he wanted, but he has since said that at the beginning. But he's actually
totally on board with it.
Yeah, and if you there was a great meme going around. It's like Luke Skywalker wouldn't turn his back and all this, and they said, well, that's kind of what Obi-Wan Kenobi did, and it's what Yoda did.
Yeah,
so
run away and hide.
Yeah, run away and hide.
No, I thought it was a lot of fun. I think it is a little bit flabby in the middle. It is a bit long.
Oh yeah,
the casino planet is
Casino Finn story were lame.
I'm not sure the point of Benicio del Toro
Once
either.
again, terrible diction. Can't understand
diction.
Can't understand a bloody word he says. Whereas in Sicario, he's lethal, deadly, and he's a great actor. We love him we've loved him since before he was big in License to Kill.
Nice honeymoon.
Exactly. We've got so much respect for the guy, and he's just badly used.
Yeah, I just didn't see the point of casting a decent actor in such a meaningless role. And I think some characters did get shortchanged, but again, it kept surprising us.
Yes, I was like, what? There were certain wow moments. I was like, I can't believe they're doing this. But you've got to get on board. You've got to realise that, in the words of Luke Skywalker, in the words of Mark Hamill, he said, if you go into this film thinking it's going to go back and let you re-enjoy some of your childhood, you will be disappointed. So grow up, because these fans backlash, the people who have a problem with this are over the age of 30. And they are expecting, Disney, this is Disney, by the way. They make
my childhood.
Disney make children's films. You have to understand that this is what's going on, that they are not there to service you.
I just can't wait for them to team up with the Avengers next year.
And there's also Fox, so...
What?
Okay, so that was our rundown. I think just to finish off, though, just to highlight, George, would you say, I don't know, I think we've done a lot of blockbusters. There's been a lot of franchise stuff, but we do watch other films.
Yes, other more thinky, talky films.
What other films do you think are worth a mention, George?
So in terms of arthouse fare or what the fuck fare, I saw a couple of interesting films in the summer. So I went and saw A Ghost Story. That is the title of the film, A Ghost Story, by David Lowery with... You're not a big fan of his Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara, but it's a very interesting twist on a ghost story, on a guy who dies in a car crash and he's haunting his partner. It's very moving. It's very weird. I can't really describe it
without ruining it, sort of thing.
Well, not without ruining it. It's very arty. There's lots of long lingering
silences.
Yes, there's I think something like a 5-minute long take of Rooney Mara, who's this grieving girlfriend, just eating a pie in grief on the floor and sobbing, and there's nothing else to it. It's just her eating a pie very slowly and crying.
No car chases then?
No car chases, no explosions.
No time travel?
No Avengers turning up.
Not interested. And Casey Affleck.
And Casey Affleck. But no, there's something very hypnotic about it. So it's probably not going to be for everybody, but if you fancy something different, a little bit of a head scratcher, check that out. The other film that I really enjoyed that is quite a sort of an arty twist on a blockbuster film was Colossal.
I really want to see that.
Which is a sort of a very twisted take on Godzilla. So Anne Hathaway is subconsciously controlling a monster in South Korea. And that's all I'm going to tell you, because anything else would be a spoiler. But it's directed by
awesome.
the amazingly named Nacho Vigalondo, I think, who directed a favourite film of ours, Time Crimes.
Oh, right.
Which does have time travel in it.
God, I love that film.
Which is, a great... He's a Spanish director, and Time Crimes is a very good time travel film that you should check out. But yeah, also check out Colossal. It's really interesting. It's quite funny. It's quite dark. But yeah, I don't think it made massive numbers, but worth checking out. Charlie, what about you? Did you see any worthy arty fare?
Well, I think
living in Paris with your beret and...
Yeah, well, I can't obviously talk about the 300 French films that I've seen this year, but no, I think it goes without saying. I think we've mentioned it on another episode. You know, I was very fortunate to be at the premiere, the French premiere of Mother. Yeah, I have to say it like that because there's an exclamation mark in the title.
Mother.
Or Mother. Mother. Yeah, so I really enjoyed that film. I enjoyed where it went. There's obviously some bits that I found a bit uncomfortable, but the overall analogy that was going on, very interesting in this time and place, and some great performances
from all involved.
Yeah, and yeah, no, that is a very well-made film, very good, thought-provoking film that you talk about and you think about long time after seeing it. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I need to check that out because I do like Aronofsky's stuff, as challenging and disturbing as it can be.
Yeah, but it's just the right amount. You know, it's not too much.
Just the right amount of fear.
Yeah.
And as I'm talking about fear, as in hangover type fear.
Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer's great in it. Ed Harris is great in it, and obviously you got Javier Bardem and J-Law, Jennifer Lawrence doing fantastic work. So yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. So to round up, well, let's give you the bad news is biggest disappointment of 2017.
Well, yeah, for me, Justice League is definitely up there just because of the potential and obviously the fact that it's been built up over so much time. But the other disappointment for me, and we haven't talked about it
because we're so disappointed about
it, is Alien Covenant.
Yeah.
I wrote a piece on this on the blog, so you should check that out on retroramble.blog. And yeah, I think we all sort of had high hopes after we were disappointed first time round with Prometheus, but fool me once, Ridley, oh, fool me twice.
Yeah.
He just clearly is not interested in making a decent alien film anymore. He's more obsessed with doing stuff with Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
Fingering himself. Sorry, playing...
Fingering a flute.
Let me do the fingering.
There was so much in that film to like, but just far too much to dislike, and they just, why not? You've made one... Why not support Prometheus? This film does not support. It rewrites stuff. It ruins stuff. There was stuff built up. The stuff that we liked in Prometheus is not given the correct service. The one thing I did like in this, I did like the aliens.
Yeah, I mean that felt a little bit like fan service. Like, oh yeah, I'm doing my Prometheus story, but I suppose I'll have to throw in the alien to appease the fans. And yeah, it was one of those films that I kind of enjoyed whilst watching it, and then I was literally walking out of the cinema going, but wait, no, that was just stupid. All the characters were stupid.
Yeah.
I didn't like any of them.
This is Prometheus.
Yeah. No, both.
Well,
both of them actually.
This is Alan.
I mean, saying that with Alan Covenant, I did enjoy Danny McBride. I thought he was quite good. But yeah, it's just it's a wasted opportunity, and it shows with. We've been talking, waxing lyrical about Blade Runner, a great sequel to a Ridley Scott film, and Ridley Scott produced it. Thankfully, he didn't direct Blade Runner because he was too busy with Alien Covenant. So it shows what can be done if it's in, somebody else's hands. And there was talk a couple of years ago of Neil Blomkamp of District 9 doing an Alien 5, so a sequel with Sigourney Weaver and somehow bringing back Michael Biehn, rewriting the Alien saga, and apparently Ridley Scott threw his toys out the pram and was like, no, I'm doing my thing with Prometheus and Covenant, you can't do it. So I think that's a missed opportunity as well, to see it with a fresh director or a young talented director, a bit like what's happening with Star Wars, getting the cream of the crop directors
who've grown up with the films,
letting them have a crack.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to him in interviews, obviously, like ourselves, is it Sir Ridders?
Sir Ridders.
Is from the Northeast. We've got an amazing amount of respect. He's made some amazing films. But I've never looked at him in the same way since The Counsellor. I will never. That was 2 hours of my life that I will never get back. With some of the worst dialogue possible. But this, if you listen to him in interviews, he has a problem with aliens.
Yeah.
He's not happy about everybody how much praise is heaped on that film. He doesn't like what James Cameron did, and he's trying to write it out of alien lore. And that's why there's all of these questions saying, well, a lot of the questions people are asking about Alien Covenant is that how is this possible because of what happened in Aliens? And he just wants to write it out. And that, to me, kind of is probably the wrong way to approach this saga.
Well, I'm sure Ridley is, I think he's 80 years old now, so he's keeping himself busy. And I think he was talking most recently about, he's thinking that the next film just might focus on the Michael Fassbender's David and the rise of AI, because that's more interesting. It's just like, just make a completely different film then.
Yeah, call it something else. But anyway, I mean, I just think that this film for me was an annoying mess that should have been better. But it looked great.
Yeah, well, that's it. You can say about Ridley Scott films.
They always look great.
They look fantastic. It's just, and The Martian, I say this in my review, The Martian shows with a good script, Ridley Scott can do it.
He can still deliver.
He can still deliver. He just needs a good script and someone to say, no.
Somebody say no. Okay, so most fun.
I think, we've covered it, but Thor Ragnarok was just a delight from start to finish. Lots of fun, lots of good gags, lots of Jeff Goldblum. Yeah,
I think I struggle with this because I think Thor Ragnarok, Blade Runner are my two favourite films of the year. But because I say that because for me Star Wars stands alone. Star Wars was such a crucial part of my we watched it so many times. It's so important to me. I really enjoyed The Last Jedi. I had so much in, and I have no idea what they're going to do with the next installment, but I am excited about seeing it, and I get what they were trying to do, and I really, really enjoyed it. But I can't decide which is better. I mean, that says a lot. I mean, Thor, to me, is one of the best, it's definitely the best Thor film, and one of the best Marvels, and they've made, 15, 16?
At least.
Films now, and I prefer this sort of story to what we're seeing, or what we have seen recently in the Avengers side. I prefer Thor Ragnarok to Civil War, and I love that. Yeah,
Civil War is one of those films that kind of...
doesn't age well.
Yeah, falls apart. There's a lot of sort of story inconsistencies, but the same could be said about Last Jedi, but I think Star Wars still has that power to be a real sort of theatrical experience.
Fucking Yoda was in it.
Yes, exactly, and he was a proper puppet.
It was that to me just said, right, I'm done.
Yeah.
That this film's giving me everything I want, and making me wonder where it's going to go.
My only one of the few weaknesses of Last Jedi, not enough Chewbacca.
No. But he was eating one of the thing that was at the Porgs.
Yes, that was a great joke.
Yeah, there were some good jokes in that. So we kind of talked about it already, but most pretty, definitely Blade Runner without a shadow of a doubt.
Well, if we're not counting Chris Pine and Gal Gadot, they're so pretty.
I want to see the sex tape.
So that's
biggest disappointment, most fun, most pretty. Do you want to talk about most pretty?
We've done most. Most pretty is Blade Runner. I thought it was stunning. It was a feast for the eyeballs.
Yeah.
And then finally we've got most headshots. Well, who that? Oh, John Wick 2.
John Wick 2 gets most headshots.
If you thought there couldn't be any more up close headshots in the first one, you were wrong.
Yeah, and things to check. I think we've probably mentioned this before, but you've got to check out on YouTube. Somebody has it from the first John Wick film, has reinserted for all of the gun noises of a scene is Michael Jackson noises. Yeah, so it works. It works well, and the honest trailer for that is hilarious.
I also saw someone on YouTube to not as successful effect did the same thing with Michael Jackson sounds and screams and yelps, but for Return of the Jedi with the lightsaber battle.
Yeah, it's not as good as the John Wick one, but it's
not as good as John Wick. But yeah, definitely check that out.
But I think what we can say for certain after talking about War of the Planet of the Apes, and seeing Snoke in Star Wars, that I read this somewhere online, I can't take credit for it, but Underneath everybody is just Andy Serkis in a suit.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So yeah, I think it's been a bit of a mixed bag. There has been some really good stuff. I can't for the life of me think what's coming up next year, but obviously, yeah, as we said, the DC universe, the Justice League is...
Where do we go now?
Yeah, is a little bit in trouble, and there's constant stories about whether Ben Affleck is going to hang up the cape. There's still rumours abound for the new Bond film whether Christopher Nolan is involved, which could be very exciting.
Yeah.
Well,
Serious womage.
Hans Zimmer doing the James Bond theme.
And screwing around with the timeline somehow.
Oh, God, yeah. So, yeah, that's it. So thank you for listening to us. Thank you for putting up with us this year.
Yeah, we hope you've enjoyed our episodes and will continue to listen and share. Please check out our blog, which is retroramble.blog. And
we're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We are on the Instagram.
Yes, we are on the Instagram.
That's what the kids are calling it, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think so. We're also on Telefax.
CFAX page
778.
778.
Yeah, but no, we've had fun doing this, and that's all that matters, because we're going to keep doing this whether people keep downloading it or not. But
Charlie, I'll be honest with you, these microphones aren't plugged into anything.
we're not even publishing them anymore. No, we're enjoying these, and the next year 2018 we're going to be giving you all the same sort of things. We're going to be doing the monthly episodes. We're going to be interspersing those with some bank holiday specials to allow us to approach some of the type of films you see on the bank holiday. But yeah, and please keep sending us your feedback. That's why we've done this review of the year, because a lot of people asked for it. And thanks for sharing with all your friends. We're getting a lot of people sharing and spreading the good word on.
Keep sharing.
Yeah, keep sharing. Sharing's caring.
2018 is all about sharing. Tell your friends.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's all. So that's the review of 2017. I've been.
See you next year.
See you again next year. I've been Charlie McGee.
I've been George McGee.
And we will see you next time.
Goodbye. Fucking Jer.